Hiya, it's Xavier down the bottom of the garden, and I've just managed to get out here in between rain showers. Like good old British weather, we have a week of sunshine and then a week of, I was going to say another word then, but a week of rain. It looks like we're in the week of rain at the moment. It's just been downpours, and this weekend the kids went camping, and yeah, needless to say it was a little bit wet. But getting into that first week of June is also the week when our Dawn Redwoods, which I think is a deciduous conifer, elongating species, is quite unique, and it's obviously one of the Neanderthal varieties in the sense that it has a very primitive setup. But the thing with Dawn Redwoods, if you hit them at the wrong time, you basically put yourself back a year every time. You've literally got a period of about a week, 2 weeks in that first week of June when you can do your energy distribution and pruning work. And basically your key sign for it will be when you look at your fronds, and I'll do a close-up in a minute, and they turn from that sort of really fresh new growth green colour to, I suppose, ruby red's the best one, and that ruby red is showing you that you're starting to get the flow and it's starting to move within the actual structure of the shoot, and it's starting to harden off, and that means that you can actually prune these and then hopefully be able to promote have a new flush, and they will do a second flush. If you leave it too late, then that second flush doesn't get the opportunity to harden off, in which case come the autumn it all falls off and then you have to start all over again. So the aim really with the redwood is to try and build each year a little bit more structure, and at the moment with this one I've got a lot of the primary and secondary stuff going, so I'm really now looking at trying to create a tighter canopy, or a tighter structure overall. Give you a spin. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but this is the one I wired, I think I wired in February, one of the very early videos I did. The wire's still on. I've had a look, it's not biting in yet. Beautiful, beautiful tree. I absolutely adore this tree, it's fantastic. So today I'm going to go around and systematically prune this one. The rules remain the same. We've got 3s, you reduce to 2s. The shoots, the leaves or the fronds come out adjacent to each other, opposite each other, then you would then be removing one from one side, one from the other side, so you can get that staggered effect. And I'm going to do a big shout out because the man who was truly responsible for me to seeing the way forward with redwood was Ryan Neil BonsaiMirai. So thanks very much, Ryan. I've watched this Dawn Redwood video of yours 3 times now in the last 2 years, and each time I learn a little bit more and more about the nuance. So cheers. And anyone who isn't a member of BonsaiMirai, definitely it's worth looking at the stuff they have on YouTube. It's free to give you an idea of whether or not it suits you. But for me, absolutely invaluable. Okay, so let's see if we can try and zone down a little bit more what I mean by growth that's ready. And looking on this branch here, you can see there's clearly the green fronds. That there is the ruby browny sort of rust colour I'm talking about. If the branch is that colour, then you have the ability to either decide, do I want this to go longer, in which case leave it, let that go out, or as you would do with anything, you can remove the growing tip, either there, or come back to the next set of junctions, remove it there, and then leave yourself with these 2 fronds either side, and then that will promote, and any latent buds will get activated. You also have the option, if you want the length and you like the length you've got, then you take off alternative leaf fronds. So you're looking at the overall pattern of the tree, you might take this one off, leave this one, in which case the alternate one is you take this one off and leave this one. Have a look at the branch structure around it to decide which ones you're taking away. This is in the upper part of the tree, so what I will be doing is, I've got that length there, so I will cut it probably here and then allow these to grow off and then see what sort of budding we get from those. So here lower down on the tree you've got a lot more single fronds, and you can see there it's very, very green. So if you cut that now, it hasn't yet formed the hardened state, or the bit where it's actually turning into a branch. That will literally stay as is, and then that will drop off in the autumn. So anything like that, you let it go until it hardens off, and if it's too late in the year, it doesn't harden off for another month, then at least you know one thing, that's going to be a branch when you lose all the leaf fronds. If it's not ruby, leave it. So hopefully from that, let's have a look. we're looking down on the lower canopy. I've looked at all the wiring on it, and there's no sign of it biting in at all anywhere along there. So again, the rules are, you can see where the general shape of this is going to be. This is going to be staying out quite wide. So starting from the bottom up, I work my way around the tree. Okay, so first branch we're going to be dealing with is from here all the way around to here, which is the lowest of these. Now, I mean, even if you look at this structure now, it looks absolutely gorgeous, it's laying over quite nicely, but I need to look at improving, getting the energy distribution. So as we were talking about looking at the ruby, all of these got nice ruby colour. I'd say it's wired, but you can see here you've got the structure coming out from here. You've actually got 3 coming from one point, so at some point I'm going to have to make a decision about losing. There's a great big knuckle there. If I was going to make a big cut like that, I would be doing that in the very early spring before we actually get any bud burst. And in fact, remembering that's something I probably wanted to do and forgot. We've got a situation here where you've got 1, 2, 3 at the end. So I clearly want to remove something here. We've got something on this side, which could be interfering with this one. Again, ruby red, so I can do something with it. So what we'll do straight away is I'm going to come back to that point. Okay, so if I was going to be trying to allow good flow of air and light, this is the one that probably wants to come off. So that's what we will do. Just before I do that, let's just double check and see what it's doing on this side. There's an odd arrangement here because this branch actually comes from, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. It actually comes from behind these two, and this is always going to get in the way of what's underneath it, if you look underneath. But what I'm hoping to be able to do is to grow that stronger, and then next year wire it out and up and above. So I'm continuing to let that grow. Underneath it we've got one here as well, which at this stage I'm not convinced is going to do me much good. You're trying to make something sustainable, and that's sometimes these decisions. I think the decision is easy. Originally, I'm going to get rid of this one. Well, maybe there is another option actually. I get rid of that. I actually get rid of this one. Oh, don't know. At least this one's coming out into the profile. Okay, let's get rid of this one instead. Right, that's gone. Then looking at the end of it, we've got these two here, ruby red. There's no ramification either. There's no more branches coming off it, so I'm just going to let those go. Not sure. I thought this was going to be easy to do, to be perfectly honest. It's funny as soon as you try and do instructional, it's so much more difficult. So we look at this branch coming at the end of the thing. We've got nothing coming off that. It's very green. That one's very green, so I'm not going to touch it. There's nothing opposite, so I'll leave it. This one here, it's starting to brown off, but again, there's no ramification, so I'll leave it. Looking at this one, same. So I've actually got a staggered layout, and though there could be a temptation, I've heard some people say, oh, you can cut halfway down. From my experience over the last few years, all that means is you're going to weaken that, and you'll lose that whole frond come the autumn. So let's have a look at this lower one. Again, we've got a green frond, nothing off it, so although it may be strong, it's not yet strong enough to produce any ramification. This is quite a nice one, but it's going up. We've got the same thing. So again, we've just got 3 fronds that I can't prune. What will happen is I'll let these grow stronger, so they're going to come right out, but I can't do anything else with that lot there. Do you know what? That's the answer. Right, that's gone. If you wanted to do a cutting with that, by the way, where can you see? If you wanted to do a cutting with that, just remove all that greenery. Nice cut. Pinch away till you've just got basically a couple of leaves. Straight into soil. There's a slight change of colour in this lower one looking at it, so I'm actually going to take the growing tip off. Leave that, so there's not a lot there I can do. That one, you see on this one, you can actually already see, don't know if you'll be able to see that yet, but just here there's actually 2 new fronds coming out from there and another frond. Another frond there, 1, 2. So that's just starting to split off, but we'll wait. I may be able to come back to it in another week and do that. We've just got single fronds basically with no ramification coming off. Here we've got 3 coming from the same point. So the sensible thing to do would be to get rid of that one. So we clear that up, that gives light to this lower one. It's very hard, I'm trying to give you the best view I can. Looking at this, again single, although here now, you've got a single here, it's browning off, but on this one, you've actually got 2 sets coming out, so you've got some structure coming out, so I'll take out the growing tip. And also here, just in here, there, there's a little bit there that needs to come away, that's in the crotch growth. You've got this one here, it's getting blocked by that one. I'm already clear that on this, it's got an adjacent, this one here, it's got an adjacent frond, so I'll remove that. So you've got a frond opposite it, and the same there, there's a frond opposite that one. So there I'm trying to stagger them. Alright, so with this one, that one I'm going to let, actually it's a perfect example of another one I can actually cut. Going ruby, I don't want this extending beyond this profile, so I will prune it back, and then hopefully what I'll be able to do later in the year, perhaps, or early next year, is wire that into a slightly different position. Looking beneath it, so we've actually got just one on this side, so this one we keep, and we've got one opposite it. We've also got this one back here, so I like the length, but I'm going to stagger that, so that one's coming off. And then if we have a look here, we've then got there, it's got no ramification off it, and that one, that too has no ramification, so I can't do anything more with that. This big one is starting to ramify right at the tip, so I can't do anything with that yet. So that's as much as I can do really with that. And sometimes it's frustrating. It looks lovely, and it's going to grow out a lot further, but you really, if you don't follow the rules with the redwoods, then you just asking for trouble. Down here we've got, again, all green, so they're no good for pruning, so I'll have to leave those. We've got one that's adjacent to another one, so I've got 2 here that are adjacent, so I'm going to take off the, got stuff growing that way. Got this one here, so I'm going to take off that one. And sometimes when the decision about which one you take off, often it's just you've got an idea in your head of how they're actually going to sit amongst each other. That one is really coming up high. Do you know what? I'm going to take a decision and remove it. What I'm going to do is I've removed, there's only one frond on this side now, but I've got this branch wide. If I just the wire a little bit, so now it looks like this frond is actually on that side. I'm going to move to this next level here. You've got the ruby red, you've got two sets. I don't want it actually to come out beyond that, so what I'm actually going to do is stop the growing tip, and hopefully that'll encourage some latent buds. Same here, we've got the two from there. I don't want that to come out, so back to that junction there. So we've just got the 1, 2. Then looking underneath it, I'll be able to wire though. Again, this time of year, never ever wire. All this is growth. It may look strong, but if you try to put wire on it, you are going to damage it, and all you'll end up doing is losing that frond later in the year. So it's a waste of time. I've done it. At the moment, it's the secondary structure I'm really trying to get developed here. So we've got frond there. It's fine. We've got 3 fronds. Is that frond there coming from a junction? So we're going to get rid of that. Got a nice layer there. There we have a look at this one. There's a branch there. I actually let's shorten that one off. Get the growing tip out. Again, looking at these, that's got a single window growing tip. Looking at it in relation to the tree, you've got one, and then opposite it another one, and you get the same arrangement here. These two, the two ones at the front, again I'm happy with the length they're at, so I will take the growing tips out. Again, same thing here, growing tips out, so there we go. Sometimes, you know, you can actually redistribute the fronds so one lays on another, just to make sure they all get good set of light. Might just lower it a little. And as I say, the thing with still having the wire on the branching there, it's not digging, it means I've still got the ability to do a little bit of jigging with it. Right, so I've done those two. I'm going to use the same principle. I mean, I know now that, where are we? I know now that it's going to come in like that, so I've got by setting the edge of my profile here, I know now as I move up, I'm going to be consistently shortening back. So we're now at this one, nice ruby red. Take the growing tip out back to the first pair, which is what you've got there, 1, 2. Nothing in the crutch there. I've got a single frond there, no ramification, so leave it. On this one, same thing. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to go all the way back to that first pair, and then looking underneath, we've got the same situation. We've got a frond here. Got 1, 2, 3. I'm going to take it back to the singles. Same again, back to that first leaf pair. And as I say, as I go around, I can still examine all the points of the wire. With wire, you want to look underneath. If it's going to dig in, it's going to dig in right at the junctions of branches. That's where all the fluid, all the juices are going back and forth, and where you're going to get the swelling first. So we've got something coming out there. Single, single. Got this one here. At the moment, if you look at it, you've got that one on the base, and this one's coming up. It looks unsightly, but at the moment I know that that's one that I can change the wiring angle so they actually come out perpendicular, but I'll do that next year. So I'm going to leave that for now. This branch will be shaded by what's above it, but there's not a great deal there, whereas on this side there's a load of branches above it. So let's see if we can sort out. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see, but on this branch here, going much further back, there's a frond coming there which has actually got ramification, and there's a frond going inwards. So I'll remove the inwards one, and then the one with the ramification, ruby, cut that back. Do you know what? I'm actually going to take that one off. Going further in, and this is just keep digging in. Sorry if my descriptions are a bit thing. The key thing to know with redwood, if it's a single frond and it's green, don't prune it unless you're going to remove it because of its relation to another frond. If it's got the rubiness but it hasn't got any ramification, don't remove it because it won't survive, it'll drop off if you do anything with it. You want it to continue to strengthen. If it's ruby and it's got ramification, then you can prune. Take the growing tip off and that energy gets sent elsewhere, same here. So that's those ones, and I'm going to literally go around all the way and work my way through. So I'll come back to you when I'm probably near the apex. Just starting to get, just take that growing tip out, there, growing tip right at the end, we're going to get rid of it. Underneath we've got this lovely branch here. It's too close to this one. It's actually part of a junction. Don't know if you're going to be able to see under there. We've actually got 1, 2, 3. That's got some lovely movement wide into it. 2 nice strong fronds. That's a strong frond, and that one's causing a problem. So, although it's a thicker branch, we'll remove it. So that opens it out again. A bit more light in there. Here's an easy one. We're actually moving upwards. This is sort of near the semi-apex side. We've got single frond here, single frond, but we've got a load of rubbish underneath. Get rid of the load of rubbish. We've got another bit of rubbish in the crotch there. Get rid of that. So now we've got is that one, single, single. So these ones I can't touch, but this one I'll take the growing tip out of. Okay. And I can already see there's going to be some wiring work I want to do, but when these are actually lignified, properly lignified. Looking up here, take that all the way back to there. It's getting easier here. We've actually got nicely ruby red, although that's quite a big distance, as internodal distance. First point that I can prune is there. Same with that one. I'm tending to do it with all these because I'm already happy with the length, so I'm trying to get its ramification. Okay. And I will say a rider on this. Although I've been working the redwoods with more success over the last couple of years since I've been learning from Ryan Neil, there is still aspects of it I'm sure I'm not quite getting right, and other people may have different ways of doing it, but hopefully you can still see what's going on. So as I do it, once the pattern's established and you've got your profile, then you work to the rules that apply to this particular tree. Okay, and there's an example here beneath where I'm actually going to, we've got fronds opposite each other. I'm going to take off the one on the right and then take off the one on the left. It's actually 3 going from the same point there. What have we got under here? Can't do anything with those fronds. We've got a mess of stuff going on under here. It's tough to know which ones to take away. I've got a situation here where this frond here has an adjacent one, but that's going to be crossing this mess here. So I'm going to take that one. Great big long thing here. That will get, I imagine I'm going to end up wiring that one in a lot closer. Do nothing more with it there. This one's going back into the tree. Get rid of that. And this point here, interesting wiring, but at the base there's 2 fronds coming out here. even, I mean I love them, but they're actually, all they're going to do is come out and interfere with those branches. So they're going. We've got this one that's just getting in the way. I've got a low one here that I'm actually going to let extend. I'm just going to leave that, mainly because I actually want to see what happens if I just let it go, see how strong that all gets. But I could do with that, bringing a bit more length out this way. And the good thing is, you know, with Dawn Redwoods, if I've taken away too many, I know full well I'll get loads of new buds coming up next year. So I could start again in some areas. Got one here that I'll probably wire down, but there's no pruning I can actually do to it. Nothing I need to remove. Looking up here, done those, follow it round. Get the same thing, we've actually got nice brown ruby. So take the growing tip off. So let's have a look at it from this perspective. The line comes up, then we've got these two. Anything in there we don't want? Okay, so I can see here. From this junction, it's a great big knobbly junction. We've got this one main one coming here, and then I've got one here that's wired up into an S shape. So that means I'm going to keep those. Everything else goes. Includes and that one. Again, looking, this is the sort of area where you would get wire bite. Looking closely, and at the moment seems okay. So, right, so we've got, again, we shorten that, shorten, and it's clear I am going to have to definitely do some reorientation. Tip there. One of the issues I've created by the look of it is the way I've wired this. It means that I've got something here totally pointing in the wrong direction. I'm just trying to work out if I can do something with the wiring now. This frond here that's going off all scanty everywhere, I'm just going to let it grow. If it strengthens, I may well then be able to rewire that. So, and that's the thing to bear in mind. It may not be exactly how you want it now, but these things strengthen up, and though they might cross over there, it's amazing what you do with a bit of wire. So I'll leave that. Two, I've got that one coming off. That's fine, that's fine. This point, I've got 2 and 2. Either remove the one that's coming into that lot, or the one that's on the inside of a bend. That's been what I call post-flush hardened pruning for the redwood. It's a little bit, yeah, it's a little bit chaotic there. And I may have another look at it in another week just to see if any more of these have sufficiently hardened off and they may be suitable for pruning. But in terms of the overall perspective, you've got lovely clear lines, so there's good circulation. The secondary structure is continuing to grow and develop and harden off. Big negative space here. Again, maybe what I do with something with these, bring some down. But I'll look at that. Yeah. So I've got 2 more redwoods to do. You'll have seen them being wired up, and make sure, if you're really interested in the wiring, then have a look at the video I did much earlier. I was probably about the 4th or something. and I'll show you the other 2 redwoods when they're done. That's the second one. Okay, so we've seen that one now. Got one more to show you, and then I'm going inside because it's going to rain. Woods. With redwoods, they prefer to be in a slightly deeper pot and have a little bit more soil room. I'd have a feeling this has dried out at some point in the last month or so with all that baking heat we've had. So, anyway, from Xavier down the bottom of the garden, trying desperately to help you learn a little bit about the Dawn Redwood. Hopefully you've got something from it, and if you haven't, I really apologise. I'll say again, BonsaiMirai, probably the best I've seen for Dawn Redwood instruction. But that's it for me really, so cheers.